It's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. In a good mood today because I'm going to take the day off on politics. There's a lot going on. I'm going to let it happen. And then you and I will talk about it tomorrow, okay? So I'm taking the day off today. I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to give you some, here, let's start with this. I'm very proud of myself. I have fashioned a stand-up desk for myself that actually looks pretty good. I was in an office supply store recently, and I saw the stand-up desks, the one that you put on your regular desk, and then it rises up, and you've seen these. And they were like $300-400. What? Just to raise something 1.5 feet? Really? And I've used stand-up desks in the past, usually kind of makeshift like the one I have now. But I like it. I like having the option. I don't use it all the time, but it's nice to have the option. So just with a little simple plain black end table, I have created a stand-up desk in my studio I'm standing at right now, and I'm so pleased with myself. Don't you just love completing a little project that works? I'm not necessarily a handy guy. I get by. I can do things that need to be done, generally. But I'm not the handiest guy in the world. So my little accomplishment here just makes me very happy. I should take a little picture of it and put it, share it on my social media platforms for all to see. Look at the good job he did. So there's that. And, speaking of handymen, that I am not, that reminds me of something else I thought I'd talk about today, and that's a pet peeve I have. It's always fun to talk about pet peeves, and maybe you can relate, and if not, at least I can bitch and moan for a little while, make myself feel better. But maybe you'll relate to this. Do you know Mike Rowe? Does that name ring a bell? He's a cable guy. I don't know. He's had a couple different shows. He's the Dirty Jobs guy. I think it was called Dirty Jobs. Nice little reality show. Features people doing really hard, dirty work, and he sort of raises them up. It's like puts them on national television and say, aren't you doing a great thing? So he finds the most difficult, the dirtiest, the most unpleasant jobs in the world. And then as his little hook, then he takes the job on, right? I'm sure you've seen this. I've never actually seen it. I've only read about it. So you probably know a lot more about this than I do. But he gets down in the muck and he does all of his manly work. And the little bit I know about the guy bugs me. Now, I should start with a disclaimer. I don't really know the guy. Maybe he's a wonderful friend and a wonderful son and a wonderful father, and maybe he's just the greatest guy in the world. I honestly don't know the answer to that. I'm going to assume that he is, because that's what I assume about everybody if I don't know them. I'm going to assume that he's just the nicest guy. But he and I have a relationship, a very limited relationship, that I don't like at all. Because he appears to be, along with, what's his name, the Tool Man, the guy who plays Tool Man and Last Man Standing. I forgot his name. Tim. No, that's the character's name. What's his guy? You know it. You're shouting it right now. So I don't need to know it because you know it. Both of these guys have this very defined idea of what it is to be a man. Got to be a man. Got to do hard work. Got to get a... There's lots of ways to be a man. There's lots of ways to be a woman. There's lots of ways to be anything in between that you care to be. And he appears to not only embrace this persona, but really kind of push it, really advocate for it. Like hold it up as a model, as an ideal. That's the impression I get from the guy. Am I wrong? And that's why I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Also, in my limited exposure to this guy, I think I've heard him interviewed on probably Fresh Air with Terry Gross, because that's where I'd hear somebody like this. Tells you what kind of a man I am. But from my limited knowledge of him, I have heard him interviewed, and I've read a couple of articles, and, so I know a little bit. Appears to be very conservative, politically speaking, appears to be very much devoted to the whole pull yourself up by your own bootstraps philosophy, work hard, don't complain, earn everything yourself, don't ask for a handout, that guy, the tough guy. I did it. You can do it. Everybody should be tough because that's what we are in America. Yeah, I don't like him. Sorry, I don't. It's the same reason I don't like the other guy whose name I can't remember. He was the voice of Buzz Lightyear. I still can't remember his name. I know Tom Hanks played Woody. I remember that. I know that. I have a selective memory. Yeah, I don't like Mike Rowe. And he came to mind because I saw him just very recently. He's now a spokesperson. He's doing television commercials for something called Home Serve. Home Serve is one of these home warranty companies. When you buy an appliance or some kind of electronic equipment or component, or stereo system or something, they always ask you if you want to buy the extra warranty. And just to give you a little free dad advice here, I hope you know this. That's the biggest scam in the world. They make money hand over fist on those things, and nobody ever collects. The odds that you're going to need it are 1,000,000 to 1. And then even if you try to collect, nobody's ever had any luck collecting on those things. So they're a big joke. And I hope you had a mom or a dad who taught you that early, and you've never been suckered in to that. Well, this is that on steroids. Apparently now, I don't know how long this has been going on. There are, a half a dozen different big companies out there, and they're advertising on national television, and they've got magazine ads. They're all over the place. They got their pop-up ads, and they want you to buy this little extra added warranty on your home appliances, on your car. And it's the real hard sell about how, oh my goodness, you're going to save hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for the extraordinarily low price of just $29.99 a month. Oh, I can't afford not to have it, because lightning is going to strike my house and it's all going to come crumbling down. And thanks to Mike Rowe and Home Serve, they're going to completely rebuild this thing from the ground up, and it's only going to cost me $29.99 a month. Well, I looked up Home Serve. Here's some more mom and dad advice for you. There's this thing called the internet, and you can, within just seconds, literally, do a little research and find out that you don't want Home Serve. You don't want this warranty. It's not worth it. You're not going to benefit from this. It's one of, like I said, several of these companies that have sprung up over the last few years. It's a thing now. It's a big old thing. And the fact that Mike Rowe is now the spokesperson didn't surprise me at all. I went, yep, that's perfect. That's just about right. That's the kind of thing I'd expect him to do. Kind of this right-wing guy. They're going to pay me to flash my smile, do their funny little commercials. I'll cash in on my well-established persona. I'm such a lovable, likable guy. Yeah. Again, I don't know him personally. Maybe he's the nicest guy in the world. Maybe he loves his dog and he loves his mother. I don't know. Probably does. But I'm not having that. And this is all without even mentioning the fact that he pontificates on a wide range of issues. He just has an opinion about everything, and especially politics. But from what I can gather, here, let's double check this right now. Let's just take a look. Mike Rowe, born 1962. This is the part that I'm always interested in here. Let's see. I'm always really interested in the early life and education. Well, I'm looking at Wikipedia here. They don't even list education. Does he have any? Studied theater and singing at Essex Community College, wherever that is. And then in 1985 graduated from Towson University with a degree in communications. Communications. You graduate with a communications degree. I'm a philosophy major, and I'm laughing at that. That's what these full-time athletes do. The guys who spend virtually 100% of their time at college on the football field, yeah, they toss communications degrees at these guys. And I know of what I speak. I'm going to brag a little bit. I have a master's degree in communications. I've taught communications. I know that it's a crock. Anyway, so there's Mike Rowe. And my point being that, yes, he does pontificate about the deepest things, about his philosophy of life, about politics, about the way we ought to live, the way the world ought to work, with zero indication that he's ever given it one little bit of thought. He just says things as though they're true. And we all have friends like that. I mean, I'm sure you have a friend like that, don't you? I do. I got a couple of them. I got one friend who's a really, really smart guy, like really educated, a professional, but he's really lousy at social media. And it makes him kind of look like a dummy when I know he's not. I know he's a really smart guy. But when he gets out of his field, because everybody thinks they're an expert in politics. Everybody thinks they can just share their half-baked opinions. Now, I said this guy's very smart. He's educated. He's a professional, but it's in a different realm. I won't say what it is in case he's listening. I don't want to insult him. I really like him. He's a nice guy. But he's somebody who shares things in social media that, by my way of seeing it, well, doesn't everybody already know this? He says he shares really, really obvious opinions that everybody already knows. He's always at least about a week behind on the news. He'll post some news story that's already a week old. Or some sort of, meme or aphorism that people have been sharing for years. And suddenly it shows up in my feed from this friend. He's just really inept. Now, this is not a pet peeve. He's the nicest guy in the world, and he does no harm at all. And we typically agree. He's not saying things that bother me. We're kind of on the same page politically. I mean, not exactly. He's kind of middle of the road, actually, to be honest about it. But no, I got nothing bad to say about him. He just amuses me. You got somebody like that? Just always a day or two or a week behind and posting all these obvious things that, yeah, you know what? No need. We got this. Just show us pictures of your cat or your dinner, and that's all we need from you. But then I have a couple of other friends, and I bet you do too, that are more like the Mike Rowe thing. They're completely out of their lane and acting as though somebody invited them to be an expert. It's such a weird component of social media. You attract into your life a reflection of what you think, but you also attract into your life what you judge. If you think people are dishonest, you attract dishonest people. If you are focused on a sickness or disease, you attract more. If you focus on poverty or lack, you gain nothing more than an empty bank account. And that goes on and on and on. That's the kind of thing that, very well may be true. Make an argument for it. Don't just state it as though it's true. Nobody can question it. If you think these things are true, why don't you give me something I can chew on? Why don't you flesh that out a little bit? Why don't you make some arguments? Why don't you cite some sources? Then I can get with you. Everything there may well be true, but I'll be damned if I'm just going to believe it. It's so I don't know how people have the nerve, have the chutzpah to share opinions like that. Just to put it out there. Either this is just true. People are weird, man. People are so weird. And then, this particular friend, again, I'm not going to name any of these people. They're all nice people. We all have our foibles, right? I thought about this person because I happened to run across an article. This was from late last year. Headline, Study Links Some Forms of Spiritual Training to Narcissism and Spiritual Superiority, quote unquote. This is from a site called Psych News Daily. Let me just give you the first couple paragraphs here. A new study has found, and you know me, I love new studies. Whenever I'm bored, I just Google, this is a good little tip. If you're ever bored, just search the words new study, and you'll get pages of interesting things to read. That's all you need. New study. Boom. It's the greatest. Okay. A new study has found that some popular forms of spiritual training, such as energy healing, aura reading, and to a lesser degree, mindfulness and meditation, correlate with both narcissism and what they call spiritual superiority. They keep putting that in quotes. An implicit feature of spiritual training is that it allows its adherents to distance themselves from their egos, and thereby from things such as the need for social approval or success. By encouraging self-compassion and non-judgmental self-acceptance, spiritual training should, presumably, make people less concerned with such things. But as a new paper explains, spiritual training may have the opposite effect. Namely, spiritual training might, in fact, enhance people's need to feel, quote, more successful, more respected, or more loved, unquote, as the authors write. So the article goes on to talk about the methods of the study, what they found, but the gist here is not at all surprising. This really sounded just so familiar to me. Like, yeah, I know people like this. I have people like this in my life. And they kept putting the word spiritual superiority in quotation marks. So I thought, well, what is this phrase they keep using here? So I looked it up. And I was amazed. There's a whole field of study about this. When I searched spiritual superiority, I got pages of articles about this phenomenon. And I didn't dig real deep. I wasn't all that interested. But, I perused a little bit. And I went, yep, I know this. Oh my God, I've been really close to this. And I got to thinking about one or two people in my life. And one of these lists, this one particular person I'm thinking of, checks every single box. It's how to spot a narcissist. And you've probably seen this. Grandiose. Never wrong. Has to be the center of attention. Has addictions, especially to gambling and adrenaline-producing activities. Yeah, this person I'm thinking of, gambling for sure, likes to drive fast, really gets off on that. Some other things I won't mention. Arrogant, yeah, lacks sympathy for others. And again, just to be clear, this person in my mind, and I've known a couple of them, highly spiritual and very vocal about their spirituality and very anxious to sermonize. We're not talking old-time religion here. We're talking the New Age stuff, the popular stuff. And like a magnet, it just draws everything in, like, aromatherapy, alternative medicines, nutrition. Any one of these things, well, none of them really are bad in and of themselves. None of it's bad. But this type of person just draws all of it in and then gets real preachy about it all. Becomes a self-appointed social media guru, sharing all their wisdom. And at the heart of it, this raging narcissism. Let's see, down the checklist again. Two-faced, yep. Puts others down to feel superior, yep. Often irresponsible with money, oh yeah. Provokes other people to fight. Lies, and lies some more. Blames others for failures. Yeah. This person I'm thinking of checks every single box. Doesn't just check it. Checks it, puts an X in it, puts a circle around it, fills it in like a ballot. I mean, circles the whole thing, underlines it in red. This is just an absolute definition of this person I'm thinking of. And highly spiritual, to the point where they're giving other people advice, almost like an avocation. You have friends like this? Is it okay? I mean, is it... Well, I don't know. I wanted to entertain, just for a minute, the idea that maybe it's just okay. People like this aren't doing any harm. I don't know. I think they're doing plenty of harm. I mean, who am I to talk, right? Got a daily podcast. I'm offering my opinion all the time. But, in my defense, I'm pretty clear that these are opinions and not established fact. I know the difference. And I try to use logical arguments to get where I'm going. I cite sources. I do my little analysis. I leave it for others to judge whether I'm right or wrong. I'm talking about people who just really, they just put it out there. I could never do that. I could never be that confident. Must be nice. Must be fun. And then, you know what? That brings me to this. In fact, it's a perfect segue now that I look at it. I had one other post that I had saved from somebody giving, sage wisdom, just right straight out of their butt. And it's this one. And oh boy, talk about pet peeves. We're bringing this thing home now. This might be my biggest pet peeve of all. All right, here's how it reads. From a friend of a friend. I don't even know these people. Here it is. Anyone who claims that they operate on... Okay, we got more quotes here. I got to do air quotes, but you can't see them. Anyone who claims that they operate on, quote, logic and facts, unquote, instead of, quote, emotions and feelings, unquote, does not. They have simply convinced themselves that all of their emotional reactions are logical ones. The fact that they don't realize this makes them more subject to their emotions. Now, this is an area of tremendous study. Psychologists, philosophers, neuroscientists, cognitive scientists, they are wrestling seriously with this issue, which is good, which is fine. That's the way the world ought to work. We should explore big ideas. The whole logic versus emotion thing, from my understanding, and I'm not an expert, but from what I've read, there doesn't seem to be a consensus, except there is maybe a developing consensus that emotions and feelings are indeed stronger than logic and facts. But this one, anyone who claims that they operate on logic and facts instead of emotions and feelings does not. So there again, a pithy little post, not suggesting something is true, a very deep and charged scientific opinion here, stated in a pithy 28-word meme. This person is basically saying that logic and facts literally do not exist, that all we have is our emotional life, that we have zero access. We're incapable, 100% incapable of employing logic, of recognizing facts, or that the idea of fact even exists. You can find reams and reams of text on this from the ancient philosophers right up to the most advanced cognitive scientists. And it's a really important question to wrestle with. Some areas of philosophy people think, and I even would agree, that I don't know, sometimes it's just almost a game. It's entertainment. It's academic entertainment for your head. Nothing wrong with that, but this isn't that. How we understand the world, how we perceive it, and then how we make decisions based on that, especially if we want to continue the idea that democracy is possible, some sort of self-governance. If you think that's at all important, then this is an important question. So I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I am completely poo-pooing. Let it be known, I am poo-pooing the pithy little unrespectful way this particular post deals with the issue. I'm calling shenanigans on this. I am judging this. This is no way to share an opinion, to advance the conversation, to offer any clarity, any guidance. Whoever posted this, I imagine, read it quickly, if they read it at all, and just on a whim, just posted it. And now in our weird, strange, brave new world of social media, it goes to millions of people. And it might trigger a few people to go, oh yeah, and then they share it and goes to millions more, and then all of a sudden it has power. It has resonance. And it's 100% BS. So there's my little rant for today. And in my role here as self-proclaimed expert and pundit about all things important, I'll just say this. I'm asking you. I'm giving you some little free, unsolicited advice. If you think something is important, then treat it like it's important. Give it some time. Give it some thought. And if you're sharing pithy little memes like this on great, grand questions of philosophy and politics, you know what? Cut it out. Just don't do that. I just think it's bad for everybody. It makes everybody dumber. I can never remember that quote. What's the quote from the Adam Sandler movie? You've made everyone in this room dumber. It's a great quote. I'll have to look that up. It's great to have conversations with your friends about big, serious issues. Do it. Great. Have some humility. That's why sports is so much fun. Oh my God, the pontificating about sports. Do you ever listen to sports radio? Do yourself a favor just for a little bit. Oh, it's so much fun. Because it's all harmless. It doesn't mean anything. But you know, in the real world, especially in the world of politics, where we're trying to have a democracy here, or in the realms of religion, spirituality, it's really not okay to be a blowhard. It's not okay to be a big dummy. It's not okay to be a narcissist and offer your wisdom that's really just a lot of noise, but your narcissism makes you believe that it's worth something. So I'm just asking all of us to just, let's check ourselves. Let's watch it. All right, so there you go. Some pet peeves today, some free unsolicited advice. Hope you enjoyed the program. That's my time. Tip your servers. It's going to be my new catchphrase. No, I don't think so. All right. I love you. I'm Charles Purcell.